the ladies classic now as we wrap up the Friday half of the Breeders' Cup doubleheader. A mile and an eighth. Obviously, it's ladies, so it's fillies and mares. Zenyatta won this race a couple of years ago. Blind Luck right now is the favorite, not just in Brad Free's eyes, but I think in pretty much everybody's eyes as well. Evening Jewel, by the way, who was on this list, has first preference in the filly and mare sprint, so more than likely she won't run, and you'll have an 11-horse field consisting of the rest of the horses on that page. Now, my top five. If you've got Blind Luck at number one, I don't know how you could have any other horse but Havre de Grace, or Havre de Grace, however you Americans want to pronounce it, in the second spot, because every time they run against each other, they've been literally side by side at the finish. Life at 10, trained by Todd Pletcher, coming off a win in the Beldame. Before that, she won the Del Cap, she won the Ogden Fib, she won the 60 Sail, she won the Rare Treat. You certainly can't go too wrong if you like Life at 10. Malibu Prayer, in my opinion, the probable pace setter in the field, also trained by Todd Pletcher, as is Life at 10. And then Unrivaled Belle, the filly who upended Rachel Alexander, if I'm not mistaken, back in the La Troyenne at Churchill Downs in April, is number 5 on my list. She is trained by Bill Mott. Blind Luck, you know she likes the Churchill Downs track because she overcame a pretty wide trip in the Kentucky Oaks to win. You know the mile and an eighth is not going to be an issue because she's won at a mile and a quarter. The Alabama Stakes, one of those mile and a quarter races, and here she comes down with Havre de Grace, and they have one of these duels, but that Blind Luck usually gets the best of.
Yeah, until last time in the Cotillion. But, you know, these two horses, if you like Blind Luck, as you said earlier, you have to like Havre de Grace a little bit as well. The only difference in the Cotillion is that Blind Luck was giving like 7 or 8 pounds to 10, excuse me, thank you, even more so, to Havre de Grace, and that brings up another age-old handicapping issue. What do those 10 pounds equate to relative to that very small difference in the Cotillion?
Mm-hmm. Well, I can tell you the way I handicap, you can't make the Beyer speed figures in this fashion because weight is not included in the calculations for the Beyer speed figures. But if you're just handicapping at home and you want to incorporate weight into the speed figures, much as they do, Jerry Brown does at Thorograph and Lynn Ragusan does with his product. Here's the rule of thumb to use: for every 2 pounds of weight, you've got 1 Beyer point difference. So,
okay.
So if a horse goes up in weight by 2 pounds, subtract 1 Beyer point. If a horse goes, the 10-pound weight swing in the Cotillion between Blind Luck and Havre de Grace would be the equivalent of 5 Beyer points. Mm-hmm. All right, so that is a time-tested. I've been doing this for a long time. It's a time-tested way to incorporate the weight into the Beyers, just as the sheets makers do. And you know, if you do that, certainly Blind Luck has the fig edge over Havre de Grace. And to me, the only horse that other than Havre de Grace that really figures to have a chance to beat Blind Luck, and here's Life at 10.
Well, Life at 10 is to me, this horse has been beautifully managed without ever having run extremely fast on the Beyer scale. She's managed to knock off 2 grade 1s, a bunch of grade 2s. I think Todd Pletcher has just spotted her really well. I don't particularly like her in this field. I think the 3-year-olds are going to carry the day, but she certainly runs every time. And the only time she turned in the only race she lost in the last 8 starts is when she was kind of almost burned up in the pace in the Rachel Alexandra race.
Yeah, she dueled for the lead with Rachel Alexandra, and they both wound up suffering as a result, especially Life at 10. Under the radar?
My under the radar horse is going to be Acting Happy. I think this race is completely between Blind Luck and Havre de Grace. They're the 105 has been always my personal Beyer cutoff for the distaff, now called the Ladies Classic. If you've run a 105 or better, you're legit in this race. Unless you're a 3-year-old, in which I allow you to run a little bit less than a 105. Well, the only 2 105s showing in here are the 2 3-year-olds, Havre de Grace and Blind Luck. So I think they're the fastest. They're only going to get better. But the other horse I do give a little bit of a look to is Acting Happy, who I always think Rick Dutrow has had a good read on this horse. He took her from a one other than loss, popped her in the Black-Eyed Susan, and she won. He wasn't originally going to run her in this race. He was going to hold her out for a Thanksgiving weekend race, but then he changed course. He's putting her in. Her last time out, she was only 2 lengths behind the great Blind Luck and Havre de Grace. So she's in the ballpark, at least, with these horses. I don't think she should be overlooked.
All right, that's the Friday Breeders' Cup program. We've got Saturday to go. We picked up a little steam there on those last 3 races. I don't think we took a half hour to do those. When we come back after this break, we'll open up the Saturday book.